What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to talk about the number one issue facing voters today. And that number one issue is inflation. And we're going to take a look and see how President Trump is doing when it comes to inflation. And I've said this previously, when it comes to the midterm elections, this is going to be a referendum on the president. If the president is not doing well when it comes to his job approval, when it comes to inflation, the economy, guess what? We're going to see change. And so I'm going to show you this clip. This is Harry Enten going over the numbers when it comes to the president's job approval and inflation. That's what we're focusing on today. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so let's get right over. We're going to listen to Harry Enten, and then we'll talk about it on the other end. Here we go.
Yeah, it is the number one issue, the number one issue. It's the number one financial issue. It's the number one issue folks saying it's facing their families right now. And Donald John Trump is in the worst position he has ever been on inflation. And more than that, these are the worst numbers I've ever seen for any president. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. According to Ipsos, look at this net approval rating on inflation. We got the latest poll out. He's 49 points underwater. That means that 49% more of the public disapprove than approve of the job he's doing. I went back. You remember Joe Biden? Inflation absolutely crushed his presidency. But at his worst, according to Ipsos, he was just 43 points underwater. So Trump is lower now on inflation than Joe Biden ever was, according to Ipsos. And I will note that the inflation rate right now is only about a third as it was back in June of 2022. Yet Trump's numbers are significantly worse than Biden's ever were.
Even though inflation was like at 9% this month, they still think Trump is doing a worse job on it than Biden ever was.
Correct.
That is staggering. Okay, so when you think of presidents and inflation, the one that comes to mind is Jimmy Carter. That was when inflation was really stratospheric. So how does Trump compare to Carter on those numbers?
Yeah, these are really stunning numbers right here. But what about James Earl Carter, right? You think of inflation, as Johnny B was talking about. You think about inflation seeking presidencies. You think of Jimmy Carter. But just look here. Okay, if we look right now at, we're talking about net approvals on inflation, this number should actually be 46%, minus 46. And if you look at this, though, even if I raise it a little bit and I correct my error right here live on air, we're talking about minus 46 points versus minus 49 points. Donald Trump is in worse position on inflation than Jimmy Carter was when, of course, Carter then got blown out by Ronald Reagan back in 1980.
So where do Americans think this is headed in terms of the cost of living?
Yeah, okay, so you see these bad numbers, and take a look here. Look at this. On cost of living, country is on the wrong track or right track. Look at this. Among independents, 75%. 75% say the wrong track, just 9% say the right track. Look among Republicans. The plurality of Republicans say that the country is on the wrong track when it comes to the cost of living versus just 39%, 45 versus 39. Donald Trump has lost every single part of this electorate. And when you take his name out of the equation, you see even the plurality of Republicans say that the country is on the wrong track when it comes to
I don't know which one of these is more surprising. They both are stunning. One is that Republicans think the country's on the wrong track economically. And then independent 75-9 is just a mind-blowing number.
It's mind-blowing. You just never see numbers like that.
All right, so what do the prediction markets say on an issue that you and I care deeply about?
Yeah.
Beef prices.
Beef prices. We're heading in the summer. Just take a look here. Chance that April 2026 versus 2025, the beef prices are 15% higher. According to the Kalshi prediction market, 75% people are feeling the pain across different issues, including beef prices, as well as at the gas tank.
All right, Harold Litton, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend.
And so you see the president has a huge problem when it comes to inflation. His numbers right now are worse than Biden's numbers back in June of 2022. And back of June of 22, I was doing videos. We were talking about inflation. Inflation was at 9.1% in June of 2022. People were struggling then. But even then, Biden's poll numbers were better than what Trump's poll numbers are showing today. And then when you go back to Carter, and that was, I was young at that time, so I wasn't really paying attention to everything going on. But you go back to Carter, and Trump's numbers are worse than Carter's numbers. And so this, as I stated, the midterms is going to be a referendum on the president. I don't care what's going on when it comes to redistricting and everything else. The voters are going to be paying attention to the cost of items. They're going to be paying attention to gas prices. They're going to be paying attention to how much groceries cost. That is what voters are really concerned about. And right now, if the election were held today, we would see a lot of independents voting for Democrats, and we might even see that 45% of Republicans, we might even see some of them voting for Democrats because the vast majority of voters right now are very dissatisfied with this current administration and what's going on. Now, can things change? Absolutely. Things could change. But what I'm finding very interesting, and I think the reason why President Trump's poll numbers are worse than Biden's poll numbers and worse than Carter's poll numbers, is mainly because of how he's handling this situation. We talk about inflation. The president is not putting anything forward to try to address this situation. During the Biden administration, we had the Inflation Reduction Act. They were at least trying to focus on the issue. President Trump is not talking about the issue at all. He's not talking about inflation. As a matter of fact, he's saying it, in some situations, he's saying it's a hoax. It's made up. The Democrats are just telling you this, but it's not really true. And so that is not going to help his numbers. And so Republicans are going to need to address this. Now, you have Republicans running for office right now. Some of these Republicans are being endorsed by the president. They're going to have to go to town halls. They're going to go and have debates with Democrats. How are they going to address this issue? How are they going to answer this question? Because Congress, they've really been sitting on their hands for over a year now. They passed the big, beautiful bill, but then after that, we haven't really heard anything. What is your plan? What do you want to do to bring down prices? And until we get some solid information coming from Republicans in Congress, we're probably going to see a blue wave because they're not addressing it. The president's not addressing it, and they're not addressing it. Congress isn't addressing it. And so I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. Do you think Republicans should address this? Do you think they will address this? Do you think they will be held responsible in November and lose a lot of seats in the House and the Senate? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.